And welcome back to episode 7 of the DJMC Sports Podcast. Today we're gonna talk about some NBA action. We'll talk a little bit about tomorrow's games. We'll give you our 4 picks as usual, and then move the NBA aside a little bit, and we're gonna talk about some NFL trade rumors. 2 guys today came out. Garrett requested a trade, and the Rams told Cup that they will be moving on from him. And then we'll go into the final division in baseball we haven't covered yet, which will be the AL West. Matt will talk a little bit about college basketball, as Marquette's got a big one tomorrow on the road at St. John's. So Jack might be joining us here later or not, so we're going to find out. So let's recap a little bit of NBA here. Wizards beat the Hornets by 10. Corey Kispert scores 25. Trae Young hits the game winner as the Hawks beat the Pistons 132-130. Knicks big comeback win tonight as Jalen Brunson drops 42 as the Knicks won 124-118. My pick did not hit. I had the Kings by 4.5, and somehow the Kings lose to the beat-up Spurs, or beat-up Kings. I apologize about that. Kings won 116-114, and Thunder put on a dominant performance after Stephen A. calls them out and says that the Mavericks are the best team in the West. Thunder beat the Bucks 125-96. Get on to tomorrow's games. We got the Mavericks traveling to Philadelphia to take on the 76ers, where Philadelphia is a 1.5 point favorite in that one. That seems free. Matter of fact, that's going to be my pick. I'm taking 76ers at 1.5 at home tomorrow against the Mavericks. We're going to have an absolute banger of a game at 6:30 on TNT as the Celtics travel to Cleveland to take on the Cavaliers. Cleveland's favored by 2.5 in that one. Rockets will go to Brooklyn to take on the Nets. Rockets are 9.5 favorites in that one. The Knicks will finally play an away game for the first time in it feels like 2 weeks as they travel to Canada to take on the Toronto Raptors, where the Knicks are 6.5 point favorites in that one. Heat will take on the Bulls. Heat are 4.5 point favorites in Chicago. The Lakers will play in the Intuit Dome against the Clippers, where the Lakers will be 7.5 point favorites in that one as well. Pacers travel to Portland, where the Pacers will be 4.5 point favorites in that one. So I already mentioned my pick. I'm going to take the 76ers at home tomorrow against the Mavericks at 1.5 for the spread there. Jack's not in here, so I'm just going to read off his pick real quick.
I'm right here.
He texted me. Oh, he's here. Jack's here. Okay, I didn't see that. So go ahead, Jack. Tell him your pick.
Yeah, I took the Cavs. They're playing the Celtics. They're both pretty good teams. Pretty sure Cavs are going to win it, but the spread shouldn't be crazy big. It shouldn't be really small. That's why I took the Cavs over everybody else.
Okay, Cavs spread or money line?
Yeah, the spread.
Spread. All right, so yeah, just a reminder on that. The spread is 2.5 in that game. So,
Okay.
Carson, what's your NBA pick?
I was also going to say that, the Cavs as well. I like them at home versus the Celtics. I think they can pull it off. Big statement win for the Cavs if they get it done. So I think they got a lot to play for tomorrow night at home.
Yeah, and that would definitely, improve them even more than Boston, as they already have a 6-game lead for first place in the Eastern Conference. So, Matt, what's your NBA pick for tomorrow night?
Give me the Rockets by 9.5 in Brooklyn. They took a tough loss tonight. They blew an 11-point lead in the fourth quarter to the Knicks, so I think they're going to come out a little scrappy, a little angry, and beat the pants off the Nets. We're just atrocious.
Yes, I do feel that as well. Is Sengun back? Is he playing? I know he didn't play the other night in Memphis, and I'm not sure if he played tonight or not. Didn't get a chance to watch that game.
I didn't see him out there,
Is he tonight?
but I don't know.
I mean, regardless, the Rockets should,
Yes,
like
back,
you said,
yeah.
he is back. Oh, so wait.
No, he didn't play
No, he
tonight.
did not play. He did not play tonight.
Yep.
No.
Sorry.
He is dealing with, it looks like, a left calf contusion, so that is a big piece there for the Rockets. But like Matt said, a bad Nets team, you should absolutely beat the brakes off of them. So, current games that are going on right now, the Grizzlies have a 16-point lead against the Spurs with 7:39 in the fourth. Nuggets are up 20 with 3 minutes and 52 seconds to go in that one. Jokic has already got 30 in the third quarter. That's ridiculous. The Jazz are up by 8 on the Pacers right now, with 6 to go in the third. Warriors and Magic First quarter just got over, and the Magic have an 8-point lead, 26-18. And the Suns are up by 1 with 9:54 to go in the second quarter. So that's the NBA action we got going on for today and tomorrow. Make sure you lock those picks in. The boys are going to get hot sometimes, so you might as well hop on it now. Well, now we're going to move on to the NFL. Early this morning we had a notification that I'm sure the world found out that Myles Garrett wants out of Cleveland. He has requested a trade. In his post that he posted on Twitter, basically regarding, as a kid dreaming of being in the NFL, his ultimate goal is to win a Super Bowl. And, he just feels like he ain't going to win one in Cleveland, and I don't think anyone thinks he's going to win one in Cleveland. So he is on his way out, hopefully. Now, is this a surprise, to anybody that, a guy like Garrett would want out of Cleveland? Anybody can chime in here.
No, not really. They're bad. Like, the Browns are bad, and I don't know how old he is, but
I think he's 32.
Yeah,
32,
so this guy. Oh, he's 29. Okay, so
he's 29. Wow, I'm way off.
But still, it's like Cleveland's. You'd figure a couple years away from at least, even like entering their name into the conversation to make the playoffs. You would just think. It just feels like they're so far away. So, I don't know. He's just kind of at a point where it's like, he wants to go win. You might as well do that now because, for a DN, your prime only lasts so long. And at 29, he's probably only got a couple years left in that stage. So might as well go try to help somebody win a ring now.
Yeah, I totally agree with that too. Would you say, Myles Garrett is going to be, definitely worth a first-round pick? If a team does trade, you see a team trade, a late first-round pick for Myles Garrett. Do you think he's worth a first, with his age kind of being, I wouldn't really say a concern, but, as a defensive end, you're only probably going to get another good 3 to 4 years out of him. Would you give up a first for Myles Garrett?
I would.
Well, additional, you're going to have to give up a first and some more, but would you give up a first for him?
I would. This reminds me a lot of the Khalil Mack situation in 2018 with the Bears. He was 27 at the time, but it gives me similar vibes. Like the Raiders, who were in Oakland at the time, like weren't really going anywhere. And Mack obviously was one of the best defensive, pass rushers in the league at that point. The Bears gave them 2 firsts, a third, and a sixth. So I think that could kind of be the baseline for a return. However, I think a little bit of a difference there is I don't think Mack had officially requested out. That trade kind of happened, and obviously when a player requests out of a franchise, that franchise loses a bit of leverage as far as they're the ones that have to trade him. So I know there was reports that Cleveland didn't feel pressured to trade him, and they were more than happy to talk contract with him. But I think a first for sure, maybe a second. For sure, got to give some draft capital up for a guy like that. Cleveland's they're probably on high alert because of how bad their moves have been recently. So they probably feel like they're pressured to, really squeeze the most value they can out of him.
Mm-hmm. Pull the trigger in that aspect. I know, Jack, you agreed. He's definitely worth the first. Carson, you got any thoughts on, a potential package for Myles Garrett?
Yeah, no, I would definitely give up a decent amount for Myles Garrett. He was up for Defensive Player of the Year this year. He
won it last year.
Yeah, won it last year. He affects the offense on so many different levels. He's a guy you got to worry about. And there's so many teams that are just, a Myles Garrett away from being that team, I think. So.
Yeah, and I totally agree. And you actually just led me right into the second part of my question is, where's a potential fit that you possibly would see for a guy like Myles Garrett? When I think of a guy like Myles Garrett, there's 2 teams that I could definitely see him going to. I can see him going to Buffalo. I could see Buffalo trading, their late round first pick this year. Maybe a third to go along with it or something like that. That might be a low ball, but just somewhere in that ballpark. And I also see him going. I also could see him going to the Chargers. Just upgrading that defense. Harbaugh loves his defenses. So, and they got absolutely shredded in the playoff game last year. Shredded. The Texans were a good team, don't get me wrong, but I mean they got shredded. So I would say I don't remember exactly who said it. I think it might have been you, Carson, but you mentioned one team is a Myles Garrett player away from making a good run. So. Yeah. And I looked at the odds earlier. I think the Bills were plus 650 and the Chargers were plus 800. And I think the third team was the Baltimore Ravens at plus 1150. I just don't see Cleveland trading Myles Garrett to an rival division team. Personally, I would not trade a guy like that to a team in my division where I'm going to have to face that guy 2 times a year. So, if you guys want to charm in, a potential landing spot for Garrett, maybe something you guys thought about. Go ahead, take it.
The two teams that I kind of had were the Bills, like you said. I mean, they could really use someone on defense to make a big push on that defensive line. Another team was the Commanders. That kind of came across my screen. So I think that would also help the Commanders. I mean, they made a great run this year, and beefing up that defense wouldn't hurt them at all. So.
Mm-hmm. And Saquon, I mean, he's exposed everybody, but he really exposed that defensive line in that conference championship game. So yeah, that'd be a good ad for the Commanders. And another thing too is, like I said earlier, trading him to an NFC team, and maybe you face them once, but you're not gonna have to worry about facing them again. So I could definitely see Garrett playing for an NFC team as well next year. So that's a good call on the Commanders. I didn't think about that. Matt, you got anything to add on, or maybe a potential destination for Garrett?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of teams that would make sense. Like everybody could use a guy like that, right? I don't know. I mean, the Texans maybe. Because the thing is too is like the Patriots are a team that's kind of been talked about, and it's like he wants to win now, but at the end of the day, it's about like his belief. I saw Adam Schefter talk about this earlier. It's about his belief, right? Like if Myles, the public might not perceive the Patriots as a team that's ready to win, but if Myles Garrett thinks he can go and win there, that's going to be a team he's open to going to. So you really don't know what he could be talked into or what he's thinking. Obviously, up front, I would love the Bears to do it. I think everybody would love their team to do it. And the thing I hold on to a little bit of hope is, this is a very, very similar situation to what happened with Khalil Mack. Will the Bears happen? Probably not, but I would love it. I don't know. I don't really know who's the most likely, to be honest with you. The Bills, great fit. I think the Chargers are a great one. Obviously you'd probably look at the playoff teams first. But it's just hard to tell right now. You really don't know. Yeah. I'm sure preferred list will come out at some point.
Correct. And I mean, this news broke, today at 9:00. So, there's not a whole lot of it out right now. But, the next coming days, I'm sure it'll spiral through. Jack, you got anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I can see him going to a team that wants to win now. Not any rebuild team. Like Myles Garrett said, he wants to win now. One team that popped in my head, the Broncos. They made a run this season.
That's a good one.
I just looked at their defense. Zach Allen, he's not terrible, but when you compare Zach Allen to somebody like Myles Garrett, I mean, it is night and day to trade them out. But yeah, any team that's not in the middle of a rebuild or anything like that, somebody that wants to win next year or the year after that or some shit like that.
Yeah, no, I totally blanked on the Broncos too. That's a great defense. They, their secondary showed a lot last year. Middle linebackers played really well. Another Oklahoma guy, Nick Benito, had a great year for them. Well, let's move. Unless you guys got anything you would like to add about Myles Garrett, I think we're going to move on to Cooper Kupp here. Now, this kind of came out of nowhere. This kind of came out, I'd say, about 2 hours ago. Cooper Kupp's an interesting guy to me. He's an older veteran player. Won a Super Bowl. This guy was, the greatest receiver a couple years ago in the league as he won the Triple Crown for receiving stats. And he's just an interesting guy to me. In the Rams system, his first game against Detroit, I'm not exactly 100% what it was. If one of you guys want to look it up and say what his stats were against Detroit, his first game of the year this year, go ahead. But I want to say he had 21 targets. They were just force-feeding Cooper Kupp the ball. And, after that, in week 2, they traveled to Arizona, and Kupp got hurt, missed a couple games, came back, didn't really play great. And then when Puka came back, Kupp was kind of like a decoy out there. He'd catch 3-4 passes a game. He'd be a good third down guy. But Puka just took over that role. So, I still think Cooper Kupp's a very great receiver. I think a team's definitely going to go out and grab him. I would say, for me, Cooper Kupp, he loves the Rams. He wanted to stay there. He wanted to end his career there. So if I'm looking, at teams that potentially could, use a veteran receiver to kind of help out, I'm thinking about, a team like the Bills. Now, however, I did say I think the Bills are going to be in for Myles Garrett. They're not going to end up to get both of them. So I think the Bills will for sure get at least one of these guys. I mean, they got to go and do something to get past the Chiefs. Like, you got to go make a move. If you want to be the best team in your conference, you got to go get one of these guys, in my opinion. But yeah, I could see him playing in Buffalo. I could also see him, going to the Broncos. I feel like that'd be another solid option for Bo Nix to have. Sean Payton's a very pass-happy offense. And, look what Sean Payton did with I would compare, Cooper Kupp to how Michael Thomas was. Look what Payton did with Breeze and Michael Thomas, back in New Orleans a few years ago. I think Michael Thomas had the most catches in a season. Like, just an absolute rack god, a guy that just catch the ball every time the ball is thrown to him. So, Denver does make a lot of sense here. And then the last team I had was the Baltimore Ravens. I think the Ravens could use a caliber MVP receiving piece. You got Derrick Henry in the backfield. You got Lamar, MVP Lamar. You got Bateman and Zay Flowers. And I think if you just go out and add that one dominant receiver, I think that's just going to help Baltimore a lot. A couple other teams that I've seen in the mix before the Rams kind of went on that heater there in the middle of the year when they were already additionally talking about trading for Kupp. The Steelers popped up a lot. And one last place, I could see him, in Dallas, just to go alongside CeeDee Lamb, get them another target there. So, it's going to be interesting. However, it did say immediately. They're looking to trade him immediately. So this is going to be something that's going to transpire fast, I believe. So, I'm not going to say the Rams probably got offers for him now, but I wouldn't be surprised, within the next 2, 3, 4 days, you see Cooper Kupp in a new uniform. So, those were my squads. Carson, where do you see Kupp, a good destination spot for Kupp?
Yeah, I also kind of had the Steelers were kind of top on my list when I seen. It would be good if I'm not sure what George Pickens' contract is, but I mean just him, and if he could get George Pickens' mind right, that'd be a good duo. Another team I saw was if the Bengals look elsewhere with T. Higgins, I think Cooper Kupp could go right in there with Jamar Chase, and Jamar wouldn't miss a beat. But if they get rid of T. Higgins, who knows what will happen with Jamar being their actual number one and only target. So.
Yeah, no, and I could totally see something like that transpiring as well. Matt, go ahead. Where's your potential fitting spot for Cooper Kupp?
Yeah, you guys said most of the ones I've been kind of just thinking about, like the Commanders. Or no, you didn't say the Commanders. I meant the Bengals and the Steelers. Commanders are one that I kind of also would think would be fun. Outside of Terry McLaurin, they don't really have a whole lot in the receiver room, and they have a ton of cap space. And it's just, they're a team that proved that they're ready to go. They're ready to, take that next step and really, we're in an NFC Championship this year, but they're really ready to, try and contend for that Super Bowl. So I think Kupp to the Commanders would be a lot of fun. Get Daniels another weapon. Other than that, Patriots again, man. I just think the Patriots are going to be a little more aggressive than people think. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think the Patriots, got a lot of money. I think that, Variable, he's ready to win. And I don't know. I think the Patriots are going to be a little more aggressive than people might give him credit for. So Patriots and Commanders would be my two that I would add on to this list.
Yeah, and I agree too with what you said on the Patriots. I have, if the Eagles lose the Super Bowl, I think A.J. Brown wins out of Philadelphia, and I could see the potential landing spot for A.J. Brown to be back with his old head coach where he played in Tennessee with Vrabel. So I'm 100% on board with you. I definitely see the Patriots going and getting Drake May a guy. Getting him a guy that, a reliable guy that he can throw the ball to, whenever he wants. So, and Jack, where's a potential fitting spot for Cooper Kupp?
Yeah, I agreed with your Ravens. Like you said,
That's your team too. That's
yeah.
your team too. So I'm sure you'd be really happy about that.
It would be great. It would be great to see him go to the Ravens. I don't really need to explain much there. You got that. But the other team is kind of I do not think he will go there, but the Seahawks. Same division, so that's why I don't see it, but a very pass-heavy offense. I mean, Geno Smith was top 5 in passing yards this year or something, top 6.
Mm-hmm.
But they have Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, JSN, and out of the 3 names of those, JSN is the only one that pops out to me. DK had a year. He was okay. And Tyler Lockett's Tyler Lockett. But if you add Cooper Kupp to that rotation, it would just continue to be a pass-heavy offense. And that's what they like.
Yeah. Yeah, and, you know, we've seen possible rumors about DK Metcalf possibly getting shipped out. And Tyler Lockett's not getting any younger, I'll tell you that. That guy's been in the league for a while now. So, I mean, I could. It's a potential. It's a fit. It's 100% a fit for him. Now, however, I don't think the Rams are going to be dumb enough to give him to Seattle. I think they'd be pretty stupid to do that. So, well, I mean, I don't got anything else NFL related unless, you know, you guys can think of anything or anything that transpired, you know, within the last couple of days or so. I think today we hit the two big hats today on those. You guys got anything else to add?
Nope.
Nothing? Okay. Well, let's move on to our MLB session for today. Our last division. I know it's kind of crazy, but we got the Astros, Rangers, Mariners, A's, and Angels. Astros got the best odds to win this division at plus 110. Rangers are in second at plus 250, tied with the Mariners at third with plus 250 as well. The A's are plus 2,300, and the Angels are plus not plus 2,300. Yeah, plus 2,300. I apologize about that. And the Angels are plus 3,000. So, I'm just going to roll right into this here. I think the Astros are by far the best team in this division. However, you know, they did lose Presley. They lost, which, I mean, really, to be honest with you, yes, that's a loss for them as well. But, you know, you got a guy like Hader already in that bullpen. You know, you got a couple other guys there as well that will eat you some innings out of the pen too. Their starting rotation is going to be tight. Hunter Brown showed some spots last year. Blanco, I mean, that guy threw a no hitter. J.P. France will be a solid guy for them. Luis Garcia, another solid guy for them. I feel like I'm forgetting a big name. Framer Valdez, that's who it is. He's a solid guy, and don't be surprised to see a little bit of Forrest Whitley this year too. You know, I think he's going to bring a little asset to the team. Also, you know, they went out and they I did not know this until about 10 minutes ago, but they signed Christian Walker, which is a huge ad for the Astros because, you know, they've been plugging in guys like Jose Abreu there. You know, they've never Gurriel. So they've never had that dominant first baseman, you know, and I think Christian Walker, with that short porch in left field in Houston, that guy's going to hit a lot of bombs. So they also acquired Isaac Paredes in that trade with the Cubs for Tucker. Solid ad for them. They already got Yordan. Going to be a very solid team for them this year. I think they definitely walk away with this division, and I think the Astros winning culture. You know, they always seem to be there. So I got the Astros, and I think they're also going to have a little revenge. You know, getting knocked out last year by the Tigers. I think that's going to kind of light a little flame in there. So I got the Astros. You know, anywhere between 93 and 95 wins this year. So Carson, what do you think about the Astros this year?
Yeah, I had the Astros at 96 wins as their ceiling. I mean, like you said, they made some moves. They have a good rotation. Just a consistent ball team. Like you said, they got them knocked off, and they're usually pretty good, so they win a bunch. So, yeah.
Yes, and Matt, what are you thinking about Astros here?
I think they got 92, 93 wins in them. You kind of, you know, mentioned that it's like they've just lost guys. They've taken so many punches over the years, you know, with guys getting old or, you know, them having to, you know, release or not release guys, but, you know, let them walk for agency like Cole and all those guys, you know, Springer, like they just can't afford them, but they continue to bounce back. Now, I do think it's interesting because obviously losing Kyle Tucker is a big one. You know, that's a big loss for them. You know, some could argue he was their best hitter last year. And then on top of that, Bregman is still up in the air right now.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously they do have Paredes. So I don't know. I mean, as far as they are a little bit lacking, and then they obviously just lost Presley as well, who's with the Cubs now. So they did take a little bit of a step back. Obviously, Christian Walker's a good signing, but it feels like they took a little bit of a step back once again with the roster. And at what point do you really enough's enough, right? Like you can't continue to lose guys. They're not going to be able to replenish forever. They've been so good at doing it the right way. They've been the standard for doing things the right way in baseball. Not this crap of buying the roster like the Mets and the Dodgers. They actually do things the right way in Houston. By developing and stuff. But I don't know. I think they can still win 92, 93 games. It's not a great division, so give me the Astros to win it with 92, 93 wins.
All right, yeah, man. I think Jack, you're the last one to talk about the Astros. Anything additional you'd like to add? I know it's hard, to kind of talk, after the three of us have given our opinions. But anything that we might have missed, or just your additional thoughts on the Astros.
So this is by far the division that I don't pay attention to at all in baseball. But I'm just looking at their roster. I have them at 91 for their ceiling.
Okay.
But I'm looking at their roster and their hitting. I mean, they have Yordan Alvarez, Yanier Diaz. They have people that can hit. Obviously, you said they had a good rotation in the pen. I mean, I think, and obviously they're the best team in the division. So that's why I put them over at 91 to win the division.
Okay. And another thing I did want to mention about Bregman, as you brought that up, Matt, I actually had a drop note here that I was supposed to say that I totally whiffed on. Bregman is showing interest in the Tigers organization, which I think is only going to make the Tigers even better. But another thing, too, that I'd like to add is the fact that, they moved Kyle Tucker, they moved Ryan Presley to bring back Bregman. Like, that was the whole thing. Because, last couple end of the season last year, the Houston fans were standing up and giving Bregman an ovation. He even got pulled off the field in their last home game. So it felt like these moves by the Astros were to create some salary cap, or to create some money for Bregman. So I mean, I feel like it's a loss if they don't sign Bregman back after giving up Tucker and Presley. So thanks for reminding me about that again, Matt. Appreciate that. Second team, this could be, a very sneaky wild card team if they stay healthy, and that's the Texas Rangers. I got them at 87 and 90 wins. I think this can be a really good team. If they're healthy, I mean, that pitching staff, you got Jacob deGrom, Nathan Eovaldi, John Gray. They went out and got Tyler Mahle, and then you're going to see a lot of Camille Rocker this year, I think, the guy out of Vanderbilt. Bullpen's a little iffy. I think their bullpen is going to probably be the weakest part of their roster here. Robert Garcia, you're looking at him as your hold guy. Sean Armstrong, probably your sixth, seventh inning guy, and your closer's Chris Martin. So I remember when that guy pitched for the Red Sox, you could basically say the game was over. But looking at this lineup, they go out, they get Jake Burger. I'm a huge fan of Jake Burger. I think that guy can smash baseballs. He gets on base. He swings his bat. I think it was, maybe it was last year or maybe a couple of years ago. I don't remember when it was, but he swung at 17 straight pitches. He's a hacker. He's gonna go up there. He's gonna swing the bat. You get Jonah Heim behind the dish. Simeon, a young guy you didn't get to see a lot of last year, and Josh Jung. He missed a little bit of the year. Corey Seager, World Series MVP shortstop. That outfield's gonna be fun to watch. You're gonna see a lot of Wyatt Langford, Evan Carter, and Adolis Garcia out there. So that's gonna be a pretty dominant outfield. And then they go out and they get a DH bat and Jack Peterson. So another veteran guy that's, going to come in and hit tanks for them. My thing with the Rangers, though, is I just don't think they stay healthy. So that's why I got the Astros winning this division. But the Rangers could be good, and I got them at anywhere between 87 and 90 wins. Carson, any additional thoughts on the Rangers?
Jack, you want to speak first before all of us?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Let's switch that up, Jack.
Yeah, you know what? I'll go. So yeah, the Rangers, they are fresh. I say they're still fresh off a World Series 2023. You brought up Kumar Rocker. I'm excited to see that guy pitch. I watched his highlights in Vanderbilt. That man is 6'5", 250, and he fucking shoves. He throws the baseball hard, and he is good. They're hitting. I mean, Adolis Garcia. What a man. Evan Carter, Jock Peterson. I mean, you mentioned all these names. They're a great ball team, and like you said, they just got to stay healthy. And I had their ceiling at 89 wins, right below the Astros.
Okay. Matt or Carson, you guys can fight or argue over who wants to go next.
Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, I'll keep it short. I think that last year, I mean, I think everybody could agree that the Rangers were ahead of schedule in 2023, winning that ring. If anything, 2024 was kind of when people thought they would start putting their name in the hat. And 2023, they just got hot at the right time and won it all. So I don't know. I think the year after a ring is always weird for teams. That maybe didn't nearly expect it. Like I'm sure they thought they were capable of it, but it just kind of all happened so quickly. Yeah, I'm excited for Rocker, and hopefully Leiter turns it around. He's struggled in his limited action MLB, but they've got some guys. Obviously, a loaded pen, loaded rotation. I love Berger for them, like you mentioned. He's just a dude. He grinds at the plate. He's got to clean his strikeouts up a little bit, but it's a good team, man. They lost Nathaniel Lowe, bit of a blow, but they're gonna be all right. I mean, look, when you throw out there, they still have Simeon and Seager. That's easily the best middle infield in the MLB when healthy. So it's just disgusting. Josh Jung over at third as well. So it's a good team. They can win the division as well, and try and defend the AL title, I guess, from 2 years ago. Oh, I need to give a number, don't I? 88 wins.
Okay. Carson?
Yeah, I had them at 85 wins. I'm not really, like you said, they're very liable to getting hurt. I just took a peek at their roster, and half of them have Red O's next to their name. So
Yep.
It's not really looking too good. I mean, obviously, beginning of the year, but looking here, yeah, you said Simeon, Seager. I mean, the All-Stars, you know them. We've said them all. Decent team to watch play baseball.
All right. Well, like I said earlier, the Mariners' odds to win the division, or the Rangers' odds. I apologize about that. The Rangers' odds to win the division are plus 250. The team I got in third, Seattle Mariners, their odds are also plus 250 to win this division. This starting rotation's gross. I mean, you got they go out and they got Luis Castillo. A couple years ago, you got Kirby at your 2, Gilbert at your 3, Bryce Miller at the 4, and Brian Wu at the 5. Those are 5 studs. Those are 5 guys that can be very good. Their bullpen, middle relief, questionable. Andres Munoz, though, that guy's going to come in the 9th, and he's going to throw gas, and he's going to shut it down. He's a great closing pitcher. Bringing back Cal Riley to catch. Their infield is not looking great. To be honest with you, I couldn't name another guy in their infield outside J.P. Crawford. However, their outfield, Julio Rodriguez, that guy is only getting better. I think this is his 3rd year. He's going to be a stud. Randy Arozarena, that guy, I don't really know what my thoughts are on him. I thought, he is a stud. He really was a stud. He went on that tear in the World Series with the Rays. Had some great season there in Randy land. But hasn't really found his home in Seattle yet. And then they got Victor Robles, decent, defender out there. And then looking at the roster here, I would say either between Luke Raley and Mitch Garver will play first, and the other will DH. So not really great offensively, I don't think. I think, if Randy Arozarena can find his strings and Julio, bats out of his mind, this is going to be a solid hitting team, but that starting rotation's gross. So I got the Mariners from 83 to 85 wins. Not really too high on them. I don't think they're going to score a lot of runs, but I think their pitching's going to be disgusting. So let's go to Carson here. Your thoughts on the Mariners?
Yeah, I'm not too educated on the Mariners. I'm not going to lie to you. I probably have them at 81 wins. Just taking a peek at the roster, I mean, I'm not going to lie, I don't know too many people on this team. But, yeah, looking at their pitchers and their ERAs, they look pretty solid. J.P. Crawford, yeah, like you said, he's a well-known guy, like to play. So,
yeah, and Jack. 81. All right. Jack, your thoughts on the Mariners this season?
Yeah, so just like Carson, I don't remember the last time I watched a Mariners game, but you went over their pitching is outstanding, and their offense is lacking. and we're coming up on spring training. I can see the Mariners trying to pick up Pete Alonso or Alex Bregman.
Ooh,
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure
I like that,
I'm pretty
Jack.
sure Flaherty is out there on the list, but like you said, they have good pitching. They don't need Flaherty.
No,
But
Flaherty signed last night
oh,
a
okay.
2-year deal with an opt-out for in his second year with the Tigers. So, but
Uh-huh,
yeah, dude,
okay.
no, I like that call and getting a cornerstone, over there, whether you're at first or third for the Mariners. That's a great call, Jack. Good call there. What was
Yes,
your win total again for them?
I had him at 87. I could see him winning 88.
Ooh, okay. You're a pitcher defense guy though. You've always been that way as a catcher. You always pull for the pitchers and the defense. Friggin'
Gotta love
weirdo,
'em.
dude. Matt, your thoughts on the Mariners?
Yeah, the Mariners, I mean, you guys already said enough about it. They have a stall of arms, Gilbert, Castillo, Kirby, Miller, Woo. They've got so many dudes. Um, I like what Jack said about, trading for, or not trading for Alonso, signing Alonso, that is. It feels like a move that would make sense for them. Luke Raley's slotted to be their first baseman right now. Like, give me, P. Alonso 10 times out of 10. Yeah, I mean, the Seattle Mariners just feel like a 500 team to me right now, and I think they would be smart. And I think a lot of people thought they were going to do this offseason, but they would be smart to dump one of these arms, for some like hitting, because I think that's where they're lacking. Their infield is just not that great. Like Donovan Solano at second, Polanco at third. Like these, J.P. Crawford. Like these are fine guys, but like they don't really have, that cornerstone in the infield like they do in the outfield with Rosarena and Julio. So. I think I think you trade one of these arms for some hitting, or maybe you bolster the farm again. I don't know. They kind of feel like stuck in like, third place in the AL West, and the lineup just doesn't cut it for me. So I would put them like 84 wins. Like, I don't know. Just
Yeah,
missing out on the
middle of the pack.
playoffs.
A little over 500.
Yeah, they're not a
Yeah,
team
and
you want to see, but yeah, not
Jorge
capable of string
Polanco was a
together.
guy. Yeah,
Sorry.
Jorge Polanco was a guy I forgot to mention. He did sign a 1-year, $7.75 million contract today with the Mariners. So, moving on. The fourth team in the division, I got the Oakland Athletics. Not even Oakland. It's not Oakland anymore. It's the Athletics. I apologize about that. That's me. You're gonna have to get some change to figure that out. They're not playing in Oakland anymore. Looking at this roster. It's going to be a little rough. I don't think they showed some signs last year. Brett Rooker was a very bright spot for them last year. They went out and they got Luis Severino. He's a dominant starter for them. He'll probably be their number one, I would imagine. They got Jeffrey Springs. He'll be probably number two in their rotation. And to be honest with you, without looking at the roster, I probably couldn't name number 3, 4, and 5 for them. However, their bullpen's not bad. They brought in Jose Leclerc, and everybody knows their closer Mason Miller. That guy's dominant. He shoves it. But like Langoliers, the catcher, the captain of the infield, he showed some signs last year. Giro Urshela's there now too as well. The young shortstop Jacob Wilson, he played a little bit last year. He's going to be back out there. Excited to see kind of how he goes with it. Is Esther Ruiz still there? Does anybody know if that's the case? What happened to that guy? He fell off, he fell off pretty fast. Did he get in trouble for something or get sent down for doing something? I'm not 100% sure what happened. If one of you guys want to fact check me on that, but
There was something, but I don't know. I'm gonna look at their 40 man. I don't know. I remember what you're talking about. There was something that happened last year.
Yeah, but I mean that's a guy that stole 60 bases a couple years ago.
He's still on their 40
that
man
was-
roster, but he's not on the
Okay.
major league depth chart.
Okay, yeah, that's just a name I remember because the Athletics haven't really been known a whole lot the last 2-3 years. But a guy like him stole 60 bases for them a couple years ago. That's something you remember. So, but yeah, I'm not really high on their roster this year. Tough division. I think they win 75 games, 75, 77 games, anywhere between there. Just not a great roster. So, you guys got any additional thoughts on the Oakland Athletics? Anybody?
I think you got it.
I had them around 75, 76 as well. Looking at their stats, Brent Rooker dominated every single like position when it comes to batting, which
On
is
that roster, yeah.
yeah, it's kind of nuts. But JJ Bleday doesn't look bad. He's up there as
I forgot
well.
to mention that guy. Yeah, that's a good pull there, Jack.
But yeah, I think they're just a mid team. They don't really got much. They're 75, 76 win team.
Yeah, just briefly, like I love the Severino edition. Love Mason Miller. Like I think people still are a little like deluded in like the fact that the A's like they were the White Sox like 2 years ago. They were where the White Sox are right now. They were like just unbelievably bad running out of AAA team. But they've gotten better, man. They've got some guys, that like actually like have MLB experience and like can play. Like I mean, I love Brent Rooker and Lawrence Butler. Those guys are really good MLB players. Langoliers is solid. Wilson, like that's exciting. Like I mean, they're not going to make the playoffs. They're not going to make a push. But is 70 wins like unattainable for them? I don't know. I mean, they're from where they were 2 years ago to now, night and day, man. I talked about this yesterday, but like I feel bad for the people in Oakland because it's like the team's finally gonna they're trending in the right direction and now they're gone. So, I hate that for baseball, and their owner can kick rocks, but yeah, I don't know. A's will be improved again, hopefully. It's good for baseball. I don't mind when they're bad or when they're good. So, yeah, 70 wins maybe.
A little Moneyball, a little Moneyball action. Great movie. At last, I don't think this is going to be a surprise to anybody. The Los Angeles Angels. I mean, man, you take a look at the roster, and it's there's nothing really to get too excited about other than Mike Trout. And I mean, Mike Trout's a guy that I'm going to pull for forever. Mike Trout, he made a dream come true to me a couple years ago in Wrigley, when he came and autographed my baseball. So that's a guy I will always pull for, no matter what it is. I mean, I still have my jersey when I was 9 years old from him. So, yeah, I'll always pull for Mike Trout. But this Angels roster's rough. Bullpen's solid. I mean, Jose Quijada, I don't know if I said that right or not, but he's a solid arm. They got Ben Joyce. Guy comes out and just throws gas. Logan O'Hoppe is an interesting name to me. I do like what he brings, but I just feel like, he doesn't pop out at anything. They did go out and get Travis d'Arnaud recently too, so that's going to be a solid backup for them. Anthony Rendon's got to be one of the worst contracts of all time there. But yeah, I mean Taylor Ward. I mean, I guess that's another guy you can possibly think of. But I mean, overall, this is just it's going to be another rough year for the Angels. I mean, they're number one. It looks like it's UC Kikuchi. I don't think that guy would be the number 4 or maybe 3 pitcher anywhere else. So, besides the White Sox. But I got these guys, maybe 72 to 75. I'm not high on them. I don't think anything's going to go great there. They did get Soler. That's another name I forgot to mention. And I want to say they got Tim Anderson in the AAA. It's a guy you can look out for. I mean, people are sleeping on Tim Anderson. This guy, I mean, he was up there in batting average. Matt, did he win batting average a couple of years ago, or was he like up there?
Yeah, he won the batting title in 2019, I believe, and then he was an MVP candidate in 2020. Shortened season, but he was still unbelievable. Yeah, from 2019 to 2021, that guy was unreal. So definitely talent's there. He had some problems. Both on and off the field. That he opened up about recently on a podcast with AJ Brzezinski. So, but yeah, the talent's there with Tim for sure, and he's young too. Obviously, like baseball's one of those things. Like once you like mentally get yourself to a place where like you feel like you can't do it anymore, it becomes really hard. And I think that's what we saw at the end of his tenure with the Sox, and then of course the failed stint with the Marlins last year.
Yeah. He got DFA'd. I want to say he hit 213. It was rough for him. So, well, since you kind of talked a little bit briefly about Tim Anderson and the Angels, Matt, what's your ceiling for the Angels this year?
I think they're gonna win like 65 games. I'll be completely honest with you. I think they're bad. I'm just like I think every year. I mean, like it's pathetic that like I have to do this, but like I feel like I'm gonna bank on Trout getting injured at some point. Like, that might sound crappy, but it happens every year. Yeah. It happens every year. So, he doesn't ever play full seasons. And why would he? I mean, it's just one of the most, like, depressing things. Like, generational talent is on, like, one of the worst ran franchises in the whole league, and he ends up getting hurt every year. So that's sad. But even, like, him being there, how much can he really do? Yeah, I don't know. They're just not a good team, man. They're not. Rendon fell off a cliff. Ward, not as good as he once was. I don't know. They're just a bad team. So I think they're going to be last.
Agreed.
They'll probably be second worst in the AL, next to the White Sox, of course. So, yeah, bad team. It's a shame that Trout's rotting away over there.
And Jack Carson, any additional thoughts and your totals for the Angels this year?
I had them around 65 to 70 wins. I mean, honestly, their hitting is atrocious. The highlight of their team, honestly, is Ben Joyce. Their pitching. Ben Joyce, in my opinion. I like watching that guy throw, although he looks like he's going to get Tommy John in the next 2 years. Because this fucking arm slot is weird.
I like a guy like Ben Joyce too, but the Angels aren't going to win many games, so that guy ain't going to toe the rubber a whole heck of a lot. But yeah, I really do like him. Carson, your thoughts on the Angels?
I had their ceiling at 68 wins. I mean, you guys pretty much hit it on the head. I mean, they're not very good. They got Mike Trout though, so that's a win for them. But they keep holding on.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, that's going to wrap up MLB. One thing I did want to add, this is an interesting thing to follow, and we will definitely be bringing this back up as more details do come out. Carson and I were talking about this earlier today at a basketball game. Umpire, what was it? Pat Hoberg. He got fired for sharing some legal sports betting accounts with a friend who did end up betting on baseball. And then he intentionally deleted the messages, which led to his investigation and conduct. Now, I mean, I'm sure there's going to be more stuff coming out on that. Just wanted to mention that, but just give you guys a little bit of heads up there. Well, we're going to move on to the last one. This episode's kind of running a little bit longer than usually, but Matt's just going to wrap it up here with a little bit of college basketball. I know his Golden Eagles got a tough one tomorrow on the road at St. John's, and another tough one later in the week in Nebraska against Creighton. So go ahead, Matt. Talk a little bit of your college basketball action for us.
Yeah, we'll make this quick. Tomorrow's another loaded slate in college basketball. What's new? We'll start with Michigan State traveling to UCLA. That's going to be a banger. Actually, sorry, before we get tomorrow, quickly want to address tonight. Iowa State did lose to Kansas and Lawrence, 69-52. Iowa State's now on a 3-game losing streak that was propelled really by the most ridiculous shot you'll ever see in your life from Caleb Love. That was crazy, and it sent them spiraling, to be quite frank with you, as of now. They lost to Kansas State in just a devastating home loss where they got dog-walked in Hilton on Saturday, I believe that was. And then, obviously, playing in Kansas is tough. So, 3-game losing streak, they're going to have to bounce back. Big 12's tough. They're in the meat of the schedule. That was really the only notable action tonight. Anyways, so Michigan State, UCLA, that's a huge game. Huge game. Michigan State has not played a team like UCLA in the Big Ten. They just haven't, other than Illinois. Give them credit for Illinois. UCLA is hot. We talked about it a couple nights ago. And I'll get to that pick in a sec, but UCLA, I liked them a lot. Marquette's going to St. John's. Obviously, that's a huge game for Big East followers, Big East fans. 11th ranked versus 12th ranked. Huge game. Marquette, obviously, tough loss to UConn. Weird game, forced 25 turnovers, but UConn shot the lights out, and ultimately Marquette couldn't make free throws. So that was a rough one. Marquette's going to have some problems with Zuby Ejiofor. He's a really good big, one of the best in the Big East. Really good offensive rebounder, really good rebounder, and really good post player. So we'll see, how they like to do that one. But that's a big game for the Big East standings because St. John's is now a game ahead of Marquette. But if Marquette wins, then they will be tied, and Marquette will have the tiebreaker. So that's a big one for Big East standings. Kentucky travels to Ole Miss. That's going to be a great game. Ole Miss, tough loss to Auburn. Obviously, Kentucky had a huge win last week at Tennessee. OU travels to Auburn. The reason I throw that one in there is because I think any time that Jeremiah Fears is on the floor, or is it Jeremy Fears? Jeremiah is the younger one. Okay, yep. I always get them confused. Jeremiah Fears is on the State. Yeah, okay. Anytime Jeremiah is on the floor, you know that something could happen. Obviously, it's going to be tough. Auburn's amazing. But it'll be an interesting game to keep an eye on. The spread's 17.5, which is a little ridiculous. OU's a solid team. So that's a game to keep an eye on. Baylor at Texas Tech is fascinating to me. Let's start with Texas Tech. They're coming off a huge win at Houston in overtime this past weekend. They're going to try to keep it rolling. That was one of the best wins of the college basketball season. What a win for Texas Tech this past weekend. Baylor's got Edgecombe, VJ Edgecombe, one of the best young freshmen. He's always a threat. Yeah, he's always a threat to give you 20, 30 points. That's going to be a great game. Like I said, Texas Tech, hottest team in the country right now just because of that win at Houston. Nobody walks into Houston and wins. So what a win for them. You got Indiana at Wisconsin. Indiana's coming off a game which they gave Purdue a run for their money. They lost, but it was a good performance. And Indiana, believe it or not, there's still a couple good wins away from having a resume for the tournament. So, Indiana's desperate. Wisconsin's obviously a solid team. They just had a tough loss last week to Maryland, but that should be a good one. And then Arizona at BYU, man. We talked about Arizona. Yeah, Arizona, man. They're back in the rankings after what they did to Iowa State. Obviously, Caleb Love, that three-quarter full-court shot to send it to overtime, and then he got hot in overtime. It was game from there. Barbecue chicken from there, some would say. Arizona, man, what a game for them, and that really seems to have them rolling right now. So they're ranked again. BYU is still a solid team. Obviously, Mark Pope went to Kentucky, but BYU is still playing solid. I think BYU is actually favored in that game, but I like Arizona to win it. But that's going to be a great game as well. Big 12 after dark now, but everyone knows that's Pac-12 after dark. So that'll be a fun one. So 3 picks for tomorrow. Call it bias, but I like Marquette to win. I think they're going to bounce back after what happened against UConn. That was just painful and just bad of a loss, as you'll find. St. John's is tough, but they really, really struggle offensively at times. They really have struggled to shoot the 3-ball. And Marquette's, a solid team defending the paint. So I think Marquette pulls that one out. I can't explain it. I just think they do. If I'm wrong, oh well. Purdue is only minus 7.5 at Iowa. I think that Purdue is going to win by more than 7.5 at Iowa. In fact, the Hawkeyes just lost Owen Freeman today. It was announced he's out for the year with finger surgery. That's a huge loss for Iowa. Reigning Big Ten freshman of the year. He was probably going to make an all Big Ten team. Huge loss for the Hawks. Their tournament chances, for what was left of them, the small part that maybe was, pretty much all but done now. So I think Purdue is going to win by 7.5. And then I like UCLA to take care of Michigan State. Like I said, that's probably game of the night. I'm really excited for that game. I don't know how UCLA is not ranked, but I like UCLA to win that. So Marquette money line, Purdue minus 7.5, and UCLA money line. It's going to be a great night in college basketball as always, and can't wait to watch it. Cannot wait to watch it. College basketball is awesome.
Yep, totally agree. Those odds are plus 583, 10 to win, 68-35. I'm going to add an additional one because, like you mentioned it earlier, Matt, and I thought it'd be one of your picks, but it wasn't. I don't think Oklahoma gets beat by 18 points tomorrow against Auburn. I really don't think it is. So if you want to add that one to that, those 3 picks, go right on for it. But that's going to wrap up episode 7. This was an interesting one. We're going to have definitely, more action to come here as, Super Bowl's coming up. It's Super Bowl week. You guys are going to get a full NFL Super Bowl episode coming out here later in this week. So appreciate you guys tuning in and listening. Deuces.
Appreciate you guys.
Deuces.
Later.